Hello, Orchard Archivers. Thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of the Caramel Apples podcast. I'm Kennedy Rizzo,
And I'm Cooper Lee.
and this week we have quite an exciting episode for you, dear listeners. We're going to have fun engaging in a fascinating discussion about the Hollywood legend and icon, Danny DeVito. So, are you ready to dive in? Let's go. Danny DeVito. Where do we start? I mean, this guy is no doubt one of the most influential personas in the history of stage and cinema.
Mhm.
He's definitely one of Hollywood's best known actors with a signature style that's all his own.
He really does. He has owned that style for some time now. He is, as you said, a huge mainstay and a most integral part of Hollywood, and no doubt one of the most well known, recognized actors in the world.
Mhm.
He's amassed a formidable and versatile body of work as an actor, producer, and director, that spans from the stage to TV and feature films.
That's correct. And that's a really nice opener to really open up and dive into our discussion today about Danny DeVito. So let's get right to
Okay.
it.
Now, Danny DeVito was born Daniel Michael DeVito Jr. on November 17th, 1944, in Neptune, New Jersey. Thinking of the name DeVito, if you haven't already guessed, he is of Italian American descent. Mother was Julia Mosello, a homemaker, and his father, Daniel DeVito Sr., owned a few small business ventures to help support his family. So, fun fact, some of those business ventures included a diner, a dry cleaning store, a pool hall, as well as a dairy outlet.
Sounds like Mr. DeVito Sr. was yet another no nonsense type of guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're all familiar with the saying that opportunity knocks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his dad wasn't planning on just sitting around and waiting for that to happen. Oh no, he was going to make it happen no matter what. And according to our show this week, Danny Jr. took notes and followed suit in regards to his career. and aren't we glad for that?
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're most certainly happy about that.
Oh, yeah.
Danny DeVito has true grit
Mhm.
as well as iron will. So when it came to that shining career of his,
Oh, yeah.
it's like he just stayed to the course.
He did.
And we can easily think of a number of his notable contributions, some of which we'll discuss and get into here in a bit.
We sure will. But there's one small thing that stands out about Danny DeVito that is amazing.
Hmm.
How well he has and wonderfully accepted about himself.
Uh-huh, yes.
Now, both his determination and good natured outlook made him a larger than life type of personality. But, Coop, what is the one thing that you can't miss but hasn't affected his success one bit?
Yes, yes, not one iota, in fact. Well, that would be his short stature, Kennedy.
Yes.
So, this is an interesting fact. Did you know that Danny DeVito is only 4 foot 10 inches tall?
Okay, I didn't know the exact. That is interesting. Yes.
Yes, yes. And reason being is to him having what is called MEC, which is multiple epiphyseal dysplasia, or Fairbanks disease. This condition is a genetic bone growth disorder.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that is very interesting. Obviously, Danny DeVito wasn't crushed by this matter.
No.
And the way he commands any given picture, as we've seen, he is such an inspiring example of not letting anything get in his way on his life path. I don't know. I think determination like that is so very inspiring.
Yeah.
Such an inspiration for vertically challenged folks and apples everywhere. You knew there was something to that.
4'10". Who's 4'10"?
Who that? Who that?
you know, that may be his actual height, but proverbially speaking, Danny DeVito is like 10 foot tall, in my humble opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I really enjoy so many of his older retro film contributions.
Oh, me too as well, Coop. Enjoying any of his movies is such a good time.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito is part of Hollywood era, and where going to and watching movies was really a cultural thing. So where you need to make that experience that more nostalgic is being able to have your buttered movie popcorn,
Mm.
favorite candy picked to munch on, and hanging out with our girl squad.
That's right, Kennard.
Of course I'm right.
And those were some truly good times, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it is said that Danny DeVito longed to be taller as a youth. We can completely understand that.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe that's a long held fast desire of most red blooded males on the same planet. But let me tell you, he may have had a bit of a height issue, but what he may have lacked in actual physical stature, he sure made up for in his wonderful acting talents and abilities,
Mhm.
as well as his larger than life personality.
Now that's an understatement, but well stated, Coop. Like that's the draw with him, right?
Yes, yes.
So let's get into some of the early years in history of this amazing actor.
Okay.
So, as we said briefly a little earlier, Danny DeVito grew up in Asbury Park, New Jersey. His folks sent him to private schools such as Our Lady of Mount Carmel Grammar School and Oratory Prep School.
Mhm.
After graduating in 1962, he worked a common job as a cosmetician at his fleshly sister's beauty salon.
Ah.
Interesting start. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that was awfully nice of his sister, because, when you think about family helping each other out, it's nice to hear those type of experiences when family comes together to, boost each other up, whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. This is amazingly heartwarming to hear.
Hmm.
So he did that for about a year, which is, that's some time. It wasn't like a week or two, he gave it 365. And then enrolled at a New York American Academy of Dramatic Arts, so that he could capitalize on his skills in something. Can you guess what that might be, Kennard?
For acting, maybe?
Not at all.
Okay.
You're like, I knew there was a clutch to that.
Always with Coop. Come on, she's always tricking you.
So, fun fact, he was attempting to enhance his skills in cosmetology.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But even though that was his initial focus, was that of cosmetology, he then fell in love with acting.
Oh, there's the acting bug.
Yep, there it is. And that's where and when he decided to further pursue his acting career.
And it was during this time that he met and hooked up with his good buddy, another well known actor, Michael Douglas.
Hmm.
This happened at the National Playwrights Conference in Waterford, Connecticut. But he graduated from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Hollywood in 1966. Yeah, we're going a few years back here.
Yeah, yeah.
Danny DeVito also met the love of his life during this time, that of Rhea Perlman of the ever famous retro show and sitcom Cheers. So the pair married in 1982 and had 3 children together. Old Danny boy was busy.
So, a couple of years after his graduating from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, or the AADA, in 1966, 2 years later, Danny DeVito landed his first movie role as a thug in the film Dreams of Glass. That came out in 1970. I bet he was, very ecstatic. Am I right?
Well, he was happy with this accomplishment. He unfortunately became discouraged with the film industry
Hmm.
and then decided to shift his focus to stage productions. So it'll be between this time, Coop, that he connected with his longtime comrade, Michael Douglas.
Oh,
So he starred in a New York stage production of Down the Morning Line. That was what it was entitled in 1969.
okay.
This was also directed by Michael Douglas, but written by yet another Hollywood icon, Martin Sheen.
Oh. So Danny DeVito and Michael Douglas were pretty tight. They at one point shared an apartment together in New York during that time where, get this, rent was only like $75 each.
Oh, wow, that's pretty insane.
Yes. So anyone who's listening to us in New York would probably be like, "Can we rewind back to those days, please?"
No doubt. $75?
Yes, that's insane.
Yeah, man. And what was this? This was like in the 60s, right? Late 60s?
Yes, yes.
Good job, guys.
Well, actually, probably anywhere, that they're listening to our podcast will probably be like, "Man, can you get any place now for $75?" Absolutely. It's insane.
Oh, it is. But that no doubt helped him be able to navigate and further attempt to manifest future acting opportunities.
Hmm.
In 1975, Danny DeVito was approached by director Milos Forman and his ever good friend Michael Douglas to star in the feature film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Ever heard of it?
Oh, maybe.
Starring as lead, iconic Jack Nicholson. Ever heard of him?
Maybe.
And already our minds are churning with excitement over this early connection.
Oh, yes. So here's a fun fact. I'm certain this is well known, which we'll get more into as our orchard trek continues to blossom.
Okay, okay.
Is this: did you know that this early film interaction connection was neat because both of these powerhouse iconic actors, Jack Nicholson and Danny DeVito, are connected to the Tim Burton's Batman franchise from 1989 and 92, playing notable villains, that of the Joker in 1989 and Penguin in 1992.
Slow standing clap.
I know, I know. Stay tuned because we'll have yet another cool connection concerning Mr. DeVito and Batsy later on.
You're nuts, Scoop. Patsy. Oh, but honestly though, those two Batman movies rock straight up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can't help but get excited when we start talking about Batman now. Come
I
on.
know, I know. So, such good movie watching.
It really is. You could on repeat.
Yes.
But back to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. We may wonder how well did it do concerning critical and financial acclaim?
Hmm.
Well, the movie became a huge hit and still ranks currently as one of the greatest movies of all time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's mind blowing because so much has happened since then. So, you really struck some gold when you held on to a title for that many decades, right?
Facts.
That's insane. So, even though Danny DeVito made his earnest contribution to that film, unfortunately, at the time, it didn't do much for his career.
Mm.
And it soon became evident of this fact due to his regularly landing more smaller roles. No pun intended.
Oh, Coop.
I'm sorry.
You are rotten
Hey,
today.
we're vertically challenged too, so I'm poking at us too.
Rotten apples. Rotten apples.
So, yeah, and he would, kind of focus on guest appearances as well on TV shows.
Hmm.
So, you Orchard archivers might know what direction we're going on that tip when, in the year of 1978, Danny DeVito auditioned for a role on a sitcom pilot reserved to be showcased on the ABC network entitled Taxi. Ever heard of it?
Oh, Taxi. No, really, that was a mainstay retro throwback for many a hardcore Danny DeVito fan out there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, yeah, those old shows, a lot of those were so amazing.
They were.
Now, like we said, those was a few years back. So while we were a bit too young at the time to tune into it like the adults did,
Hmm.
um, you know, it was still that good that we heard about it. You know, we could kind of have, give our observations on it,
Yes, yes.
But speaking of adults, I believe our data would watch this late night comedy since that's when I believe it came on.
Yes, I think you're right.
And he was, well, he still is quite the night owl.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah, because that's where both Coop and I get it from. Guilty as charged.
Yes, spot on, Kennage. Yes, so Taxi was a big deal, as well as a big hit back in the day. And no doubt Danny DeVito contributed to this warm success. He auditioned for the role of Louis De Palma, which he played flawlessly. It's like this part was handpicked for him.
And I know we're going to get into some of his other stuff, but I see he fits like most of what he's done,
I know.
which is, is testimony to how great of an actor he is.
Yep.
Because he really is like hand in glove. His parts, the parts you can picture him in your mind's eye in.
Yes, it's like you don't separate him from the character. He gets in the role.
He does. Totally love Danny DeVito's film. Totally love Danny DeVito.
Yes.
But there's actually a funny story concerning his audition for Taxi.
Okay.
It is said that the creative execs told Mr. DeVito that he needed to show more attitude in order to land the part. Now, this is funny. So, get this.
Okay.
He slammed the script down and he yells, "Who wrote this?" Okay, and I gotta PG this because he's a New Yorker, or well, New Jersey. He's from New Jersey, so he's got that spunk about him.
Yes.
So we're totally PGing this. So he says, "Who wrote this crap?" So you fill in the blank what he really said. And it was then there that the creative execs knew he was perfect for the part,
Mm.
and then welcomed him aboard to the Taxi family. He was then Louis De Palma. So Danny DeVito playing this character lended to his contributing his talents into playing one of the most memorable and reviled characters in TV history. How do you pull that off?
I know, right? It's like, is that a badge of honor or not?
Yeah.
Well, they say, no news is good news, or no, there's another one where it's like, as long as they're talking about you, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. At least they're talking about you. I can't
That's
remember.
That's it. He's good.
Yes. Oh, goodness. So I can believe that because, with Taxi, it was deemed a widely acclaimed retro show, like we'd mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And Taxi was centered around, predictably enough, get this, taxi cab drivers. Didn't see that one coming. Had a nice garage and all of their zany adventures unfolding. So while Danny DeVito, aka Louis De Palma, was universally despised by the viewers, he was well praised by critics. So, fun fact, Danny DeVito actually won an Emmy Award for his role and also was nominated 3 other times.
Wow.
So how impressive is that?
Very, very.
Yeah, excellent. Again, standing clap.
Exactly. So, based on what we've just discovered already, it's quite clear that Taxi was a huge success.
Mhm.
And we know this because it ran from 1978 all the way to 1983.
Wow.
So that's literally like a good 5-year run. So, hot off the heels of Taxi, though, we know and realize Danny DeVito then launched into feature films with the assistance and high recommendation, here we go, from his good friend Michael Douglas.
Hey!
He had, maybe I shouldn't say this, but he had friend in high places.
Yes. Oh,
Oh,
goodness.
that was terrible.
Leonard.
I know, that was so, we still love Danny DeVito. All in good fun.
Absolutely.
So Danny DeVito had the privilege of co-starring alongside his good friend in both Romancing the Stone in 1984,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great flick,
Mm-hmm.
and as well as the sequel The Jewel of the Nile, which came out the following year in 1985. Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
So we've touted how now Danny DeVito's career has blossomed from television into the realm of feature films.
Mhm.
So on that thought, I had both a fun fact and a spoiler alert all wrapped into one.
Okay.
So you ready? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Fun fact. In the aforementioned movie Romancing the Stone, Danny DeVito's character Ralph makes a pretty cool reference to a future creative undertaking by way of a Batman related joke.
Okay.
Yes, so this happened when his character corners both Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner in a cave. He says, and I quote, "Move it before Batman comes home." Now, the spoiler alert is that 8 years later, in 1992, Danny DeVito actually played his infamous villain character, the Penguin, in Batman Returns.
That's right. And that quote, "Move it before Batman comes home." You can hear him saying, you can see him and hear him saying that.
You can!
He's so
His
ornery.
mannerisms, his voice, everything. Yes.
So we go, Batman,
Man.
Batman. Oh my goodness! Again, one
Mm.
of our favorites, but
Yes.
we'll get more into Batman here in a bit.
Yes, yes, yes.
But Danny DeVito maintained his status as the years passed as an incredible actor, lending his obvious talents in memorable roles in so many nostalgic feature films.
Mm.
Um, just like the two we've already briefly mentioned, that of Romancing the Stone and The Jewel of the Nile, but also other notable movies that he's largely contributed to.
Yeah. There's so many. A Wonderful Retro Film. Let's see. We've got Ruthless People,
Oh, yes.
1986. Throw Mama from the Train, 87. Twins, 88.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, so it's plain to see that just the ones we listed after his stint on Taxi, literally from 84 to 88, Danny DeVito starred in a number of movies every year.
That's crazy because we the people that watch movies, like, we just see the finished product. We don't
Yeah,
realize how many weeks and the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, it seems easy, but it's not. It's still a job.
right, right.
For him to be that busy and have a movie every year in that era, that decade,
Yeah,
he was a busy man.
yeah, yeah. So how many times did he have to leave one set to go to another or do a reading or a whatever? Yeah, like you said, it is a job. So
Yeah.
there's a lot entailed. It's not just one day they're there and the movie's made. It's like they got to prepare, they got to get into character, all of that kind of stuff. So, and they got to eat and sleep.
Yeah, squeeze that in there somewhere.
If you can. So, yeah, like you said, that's crazy of an undertaking, but he
Hmm.
did it.
Yeah, yeah.
He did it. And some of his greatest achievements came along when his union with his wife Rhea Perlman of Cheers fame. They married in 82, like we mentioned, and
Hmm.
had 3 children together. So add that to the plate as well, raising babies,
Oh, yeah.
during all of the same time frame.
Hmm.
And they have 2 daughters. Uh, One is Lucy. She was born in 83. Gracie, born in 85. And then they had a son, Jack DeVito, born in 87.
Oh, that's cool. So obviously he did find some time to have, his own personal life to enjoy. He wasn't just all business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Didi DeVito and Rhea Perlman were not only together in their personal affairs, but they also collaborated extensively professionally.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it depends on what angle you're looking at that. Would you want to work with your spouse? Would you want to work with your spouse?
Some people may say no, huh?
Yeah, the jury may be out on that one. But over the years, they worked on numerous projects together. A key notable business venture for the two of them was actually launching their own production company together called Jersey Films.
Ah,
Yeah, way to pay homage to home base.
this is true. And this career move proved quite pivotal, for we've covered a great deal of his key cinematic works he's aced effortlessly in front of the camera.
Mhm.
But the ever tenacious Danny DeVito also proved to have a great deal of success behind the camera as well, in both directing and producing films. So, fun fact, two fine examples of this career venture or crossover was with his directing the films The War of the Roses,
Ah.
starring his buddy, old pal, once again, Michael Douglas, in 1989, and also Hoffa, which starred another good friend of his, which is Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
Yes, as well. So he himself starred in both films, which is nice when you're running it. You can kind of decide if you're going to jump in as well. So he did that.
That just added to his busy, though.
I know. I know. So it was actually Hoffa that kicked off the launch of he and his wife Rhea Perlman's production company, Jersey Films, when they released Hoffa in 1992.
Gotcha. Okay. I've heard of that movie, but I've never actually seen Hoffa, so I don't know.
I have not either.
Okay.
So yeah.
Probably really good because that's an interesting case anyway, but that's another story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's awesome, though. Regardless of DeVito's shorter stature, either in front of the camera or working his talents behind it, it is no wonder that Danny DeVito is one of the most recognized and influential personas in the history of stage and cinema.
Hmm.
That's truly remarkable.
Yeah.
Even though 1992 was quite a busy year for Danny DeVito due to the added weight of both producing and directing, you mentioned Hoffa and its release. So, what else did he lend his fingerprints to as co founder of Jersey Films?
Well, Jersey Films produced many popular films and television shows, such as Pulp Fiction
Hmm.
from 1994, Get Shorty 1995.
Oh, was that a joke?
No,
Okay, that was a real movie. Oh, that's right. Get Shorty's a movie. Go ahead, sorry.
so bad. Man on the Moon from 1999 and Aaron Brockovich in 2000. But directing was a keen undertaking for Mr. DeVito as well. We've already mentioned a couple of his earlier endeavors in Throw Mama from the Train, War of the Roses, and Hoffa, but a couple more we'll quickly mention is Death to Smoochie in 2002 and Saint Sebastian.
Okay. Well, he also lent his fine talents in a couple other familiar films like Look Who's Talking Now, where he was, yeah, those are cute,
Yeah.
where he was voicing Rocks, the mutt. This movie come out in 1993. Then we have LA Confidential that came out in 1997.
Hmm.
Matilda was one of his more famous ones. That was the 96.
Wow.
And then Other People's Money in 1991.
Hmm.
So Danny DeVito was uber busy and just about everywhere back in the day. But let's talk about one amazing role he wielded amazingly that was a major favorite of both of ours. Shall we, Coopadoo?
Oh my, yes, yes, yes. But before we let the caramel apples out of the bag, it's noted that Danny DeVito often portrays sinister, ornery folks and or characters in a lot of films that he starred in.
He does.
Mhm. But the one character we want to talk about for a moment is the Penguin in Batman Returns
Here we go.
1992.
Here we go. Here we
Yes,
go.
yes, yes. Golf clap for sure on that one.
Ah.
This gem of a movie was directed by Tim Burton, and he had the privilege of sharing the screen with two other film icons, that of Michael Keaton
Mhm.
and the talented Michelle Pfeiffer, who played Batman and Catwoman, respectively.
Woo, woo, woo,
Woo-hoo!
woo. This movie was great.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. And as we've stated before, you cannot go wrong engrossing yourself in the world and exciting adventures of Batman.
No, you really can't.
Oh, I mean, that's just hands down wonderful entertainment.
It is.
Now, Danny DeVito has worked with countless heavy hitter Hollywood players in both TV and film over the years. But the punchline is that, truth be told, Danny DeVito is undeniably a heavy hitter himself.
So, in this entertaining and unforgettable role, Batman deals with the deformed man and mutant crime boss under the comic pseudonym the Penguin, all the while wreaking havoc all across Gotham with the help of a cruel and demented businessman, Max Schreck. Subplot is that a female employee of Max Schreck later reveals plans and adventures of her own as the Catwoman.
Stating it again, this movie was great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, it makes you want to just put it in and watch it now.
I know.
We don't have time for that. So, without going too deep into it, if you're remotely familiar with the film, you fellow fans may recall that the Penguin softened his evil plans for a bit due to being coerced by Max Schreck to run for the office of city mayor of Gotham. Penguin was his villain name, but when he sampled being a good guy for a minute, um, as a potential hopeful mayor, he shifted gears and wanted folks to call him by his proper name, the name given him at birth. So, all right, Orchard Archivers, we're having a little bit of fun. Um, can you remember what the Penguin's proper name was in this film? I know it's awful. If you do, you know the drill. Hit us back with your brilliant guesses and responses.
So, Danny DeVito in this role was literally introduced to a whole new generation of moviegoers.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Returns was a highly successful film that was a hit with the audiences far and wide. Danny DeVito as the Penguin was so extraordinary playing this part that, fun fact, playing his role as the Penguin earned Mr. DeVito a nomination for Best Villain at the MTV Movie Awards.
Ah,
Yes. So the new generation of moviegoers had spoken.
they most certainly had. Wow.
Mhm.
Danny DeVito worked with a number of other famous A-list actors over the years. Oh, we can think of like Billy Crystal,
Yeah.
um, Jack Nicholson, and
Yes.
his buddy Michael Douglas.
Yes.
Then we got John Travolta and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes. And I have to say, almost between, as much as we have said Michael Douglas, how close they were, it's almost like his show.
I know.
I think we have mentioned him just as much as we've mentioned Danny.
And, hi, Mr. Douglas.
Hi. That's cool, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And speaking of Arnold, here's an interesting fun fact.
Okay.
Not only did they enjoy the privilege of starring in a few feature films together, but they also had one other interesting tidbit that connected the two stars. Fun fact, Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger had both played Batman villains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Danny DeVito as the Penguin and Arnold as Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin.
You're nuts.
I have to say, I saw a screenshot real quick of his character, and he looks like he reminds me of the Tin Man with an ice cream dollop on top. But okay,
This is spiraling.
let's get back on track.
Yes, well, let's.
Okay. Okay, so it also bears repeating a similar connection between Danny DeVito and Jack Nicholson. We all know and remember well Nicholson's unforgettable role as one of the best villains ever as the Joker in Batman 1989.
Yeah, I just think we went golfing today because there's another slow standing clap.
I
Woohoo!
know,
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. So cool.
So in 2005, Danny DeVito returned to his television roots by appearing in the FX comedy series It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for which he shined in a prominent role therein. But once again, Danny DeVito garnered more acclaim as his comedic talents were on display once again for a whole new generation of viewers.
Nice.
Yeah. But back in feature films, a great example of this fact was showcased a few years later in 2012. And that's when Danny DeVito lent his voice talents in the title role in Dr. Seuss's The Lorax.
Hmm.
This was such a cute movie.
It was. Hey, I guess when you're good, right?
Yes.
So when Danny DeVito was younger, he was often harassed and teased by the neighborhood bullies, and no doubt found it awkward at times back then cavorting with the ladies, perhaps due to his height.
Oh, yes, yes. Females can be a fickle bunch.
Yes, unfortunately, but with Danny DeVito's impressive Hollywood resume and career boom, his former bullies nowadays kneel to this top talent actor, director, and producer, for which he's still currently active in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here's a cute fun fact I found interesting about Danny DeVito as to this in connection to yet another retro favorite of mine.
Okay.
So, fun fact, did you know that he was considered for the role of Sala in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Oh, no, uh-uh.
Yeah, the reason he couldn't fulfill that part was due to his being heavily involved in his TV commitments and contract on Taxi.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, so this missed opportunity was right in the thick of his stint on Taxi for the year. And if you can recall, that was, I believe, in 81.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that role was handed nicely to John Rhys Davies, who did a very nice job.
Yeah, because that's one of your favorites, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, she's a big fan of the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Yes, sadly. I don't know. I think I've run it in the ground for my poor husband, but yes.
I have a few of those too. I don't know. They get over it. But no doubt seeing the highs and lows of this often fickle and cutthroat business.
Mm-hmm.
With more than 4 decades under his belt, Danny DeVito has seen it all in the industry.
Yeah.
He's good naturedly referred to it as, and I quote, a jungle full of quicksand, vermin flesh eating beasts. Making a movie is not a walk in the park. Every movie is like navigating treacherous terrain. End quote. I mean, you can so hear and picture him saying that too right now, can't you?
You can. You can. And you nailed it, by the way. Nice job.
And Danny DeVito had some sharp, quick wit too, and he's good-natured sarcasm's always a pinch or two in the mix.
Yes.
Danny DeVito is highly respected by so many.
Mm-hmm.
If his shining career path is any evidence of that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So, which makes him a key player, in that game.
Yes.
He knows what's up, but despite his very raw and honest assessment of what Hollywood is, still Danny DeVito says he thrives on that same cutthroat nature of show business, stating, and I quote, fighting a battle and winning is fun, and this business is fun. I love it. It's the greatest business in the world, end quote.
Oh, that's cool. Because he played the game and he played it very, very well.
Yes, so true. So this shouldn't be too terribly surprising then. Fun fact, Danny DeVito played the game so well that he is awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on August 18th, 2011. He
Okay.
truly impressed and made his mark on Tinseltown. Yes. So to sum up our discussion on Danny DeVito this week, what can we say? Well, that he has demonstrated and embodied a versatile and fascinating array of work as an actor, producer, and director that spans the stage, TV, and films, and continues to work hard at his endeavors on into the present.
Truly. So, whether in front of the camera or behind it, we'll always enjoy the hard work and grit and undoubtedly raw talent that is the trademark that makes Danny DeVito shine bright. Oh, shoot. I picked the cute one. Sighed the penguin.
Love what you heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. To tune into future treks and to the Orchard Archives, meet up with us here next week. Same time, same place at the sweet spot. And it would mean the world to us if you could leave us a shining review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and explore more iconic memories. Thank you.